Good morning. Today is January 29th, 2015, and I'm going to explain a little bit about the surroundings here and a few things that have happened in the last couple of days before I continue with the video clips about government organized gang rape against me since I was very little. So first I'm going to describe my surroundings here. The items back here behind me on the television, the huge oversized old-fashioned television, are survival foods, and that has to do with some of the budget video clips that I was making about dehydrated food usage and how you can use that when you don't have a refrigerator and maybe there's not enough room in your space, or for whatever reason you choose not to have one. That doesn't mean you can't have fresh food, fresh produce and vegetables and that kind of thing, and fruit. But also, I rely a lot on the dehydrated food and just reconstituting it. And these are some of the items. It's from Survival Farms, and I've used some other brands as well. And anyway, it pretty makes it almost completely unnecessary to even have a fridge, especially as a vegan. And I am a vegan. I don't use any dairy or animal products, but you know, on occasion, if there's a little bit in something, I'm not going to freak out about it. It's not that big of a deal. So the other item here is quilting material, fabric, because I've been working on some different quilting projects, because something that I haven't disclosed, which I kept quiet for 9 months and told no one about. And I made no exception to that. I did not tell one single person that I was pregnant. So I chose to become pregnant, and I have always wanted to have kids and raise my own children, and I am good at it. I've worked for a bunch of government families as their nanny, but every time I've had a kid, they steal my kid from me. And I actually did have plans to possibly leave the United States during this pregnancy. And I decided not to, because the last time what happened is they bribed the country that I went to, which was Canada, with my son, and basically kidnapped him. But they used money to bribe the Canadian officials to facilitate what they wanted to do. So because I know how much money the U.S. has and how they try to cripple other economies that don't work with them economically, and use their money, which actually they've stolen from me, some of it, and I'm sure from many others too. When they put other people in that kind of a position, they just expect someone to take the money. You know, they expect someone to say, okay, yeah, we don't really need this kid or this mother over here in our country that much. If you're going to give us this much money to find an excuse to send them back, no problem. So I pretty much felt that that would be the situation. I don't think every country would be like that, but I haven't been able to identify yet or feel confident that I know for sure which countries would not do that to me and to a child, to my baby. So, you know, at some point, if I find out which country that is, I'll be there. Because I am ready to look at some options. But anyway, at this point, I decided it would look pretty bad too for the U.S. to try to kidnap another kid of mine. And I didn't think that they would, because I thought that I could have this pregnancy at my house and labor, but they used some of the same things. They did the same things that they did to me when I was a teen and pregnant, and trying to force me out, like smoke me out of my house, basically into the waiting arms of CPS officials and a bunch of corrupt government officials that work in Coos Bay Hospital. And I had a baby when I was a teenager, and I had the baby over there, and they threatened me, they harmed my baby. I found out most of the nurses were connected directly to military. I'm sure, I heard that some of them were also FBI connected. And but I do know for sure that many of them are military connected. I mean, they're married to career military men or had career military persons in their family, or they were that way themselves. And they brought all of the exact same nurses around that they used against me when I was pregnant as a teen. And they came up with the same excuses and lies to take my daughter from me. And they're going to try to make it easier on themselves this time, because they're now claiming that they have, quote unquote, this evidence of some problem over in Washington, and since I had a child removed from me in the past, they're just banking on that. They're banking on the idea that what illegal crimes the U.S. committed by kidnapping my son Oliver from me, they can use to strengthen their case against me, claiming that there's something wrong with me. Well, they actually, after I had my daughter, my name's Sophia, and I named her Sophia, and she's the second Sophia, because the first daughter that I had, I also named Sophia, and I actually don't even like that name that much. And I got pressured both times into naming my daughter. And I decided to give this one the same name, the name to remember my other daughter by, because she was kidnapped from me. And when I was a teenager, I had all kinds of pressures. I'm sure a lot of teen moms have been through that, but I was under death threats by the U.S. They threatened my life, and they were harming her.
And they found an excuse to put me in a mental ward as a teen. And performed a series of electroshock treatments on me. And then they would stop and say, you still want to continue with this? So basically I was being told they could lock me up indefinitely and keep electrocuting me, to the point where they were using, my heart stopped a couple of times when they were doing that to me, and they had to use the defibrillator things on my chest. They had me strapped down to a bed. So in my book, that is pretty much goes in the same category as the death threat, because they weren't just torturing me once and saying, sign this and then get on with it. They were saying, if you don't do exactly what we want you to do, you will stay here, and this is what we will continue to do to you. So I was trapped, and and then when they got me to agree to something, I'm not even quite sure that I signed the papers. I almost think I refused, because I think I remember they presented papers and I said, I'm not signing that. I said, you can do what you want to do, but I'm not going to sign it, because I do not give up. I am not really giving up my rights. But I also didn't want to get sent back to the nut house, where they were torturing me. And so basically they just kind of took the baby, took my baby, and I don't believe I signed the papers. And they let me go, basically with the idea that, well, they were just verbally making a deal right there in court that they were taking my child. And otherwise, my other option was to submit to their services, quote unquote, which would be to continue to go back to those people that were torturing me. So I left, and then I had someone tell me that I needed to file something in a federal court. And it was actually either before I got sent to this place that electrocuted me or after, and I'm not quite sure. I'd have to think about it, but could have been that I was supposed to file something in federal court to prevent the electrocution from happening to me, which I didn't really know that was impending. And it could have been that I was supposed to go to federal court to contest what had been done to me and to get the name of my daughter into the file or record in a federal level. But they, at the same time they did all these things to me, I mean, I did have some financial security of some sort at that time, even though I was a teenager. And they made sure to have me in a homeless situation. They immediately, housing authority denied me any kind of housing. They told me if I wanted to be in Portland and try to go to court, I had to be in a homeless shelter. And you know, how far can anyone get in a federal court system trying to navigate a serious legal matter, when you're in a homeless shelter as a teen? I mean, I already knew that I would not have the power, the tools, resources, or ability to effectively defend myself, and I didn't trust lawyers because lawyers I'd already had, I could see, were working for the government and just trying to conceal anything that was true and replace it with something that was false. So my plan at the time had been, I'm just going to work. I'm going to get a job, and I'm going to work. I'm going to make a little bit of money, and then I'm going to turn around and sue them, and I'll put everything in the court in a legal system. But I think what happened is that, because I don't remember too much, I think that actually that it was after that, it was like a little interim time that I had, and that it was possibly after that that I was then put into a mental ward. Like, they picked me up, took me over there, did all these things to me, got my child from me. I think that they possibly took me there again. And then the next thing that happened that I remember after all of that was that I was suddenly living, I wasn't in Coquille, Oregon anymore, and I was suddenly living in Moses Lake, Washington, like nothing ever happened. So that was all around the age of, you know, I mean, early teens, like 13. And so anyway, then I was basically kind of held hostage in my house in Moses Lake for a while too. Like, the government, there was a bunch of government people coming back and forth. And I wasn't allowed to go anywhere. And then suddenly, after a whole bunch of things happened and a bunch of medications and everything else, I was suddenly then back in school, as if, you know, none of this had ever occurred. Well, all of this happened, and I have had some people try to say recently that none of it happened, as if trying to claim that I didn't even have a daughter, that I never was pregnant as a teen, I didn't have a daughter, and that these things did not happen to me. Well, they did happen. Happened at Coos County Hospital. That's where I had the baby. I'm sure that someone's tried to seal an adoption of my daughter, so that she doesn't know. If she knows, I highly doubt she knows. And actually, I have a feeling that she's maybe dead, because I know what kinds of things they did to me, and I had a lot of attempts of someone trying to kill me. So I have a feeling that there's a chance. I mean, I don't know, but there's a chance that she's not even alive. Which would be another reason that the U.S. would want to lie and say that, oh, this never happened to even begin with. So, anyway, I just had another baby girl, and she looks the same as my first one. And I gave her the same name so that I would remember the first one. And then I'm going to make another clip right after this to continue.